How many times have you heard somebody say, you should be doing video marketing? Or have you looked into YouTube marketing for your business? Or how many times have you gotten the video of the DIY or have used YouTube as a search engine? Today, we're going to talk about video marketing. We're going to discuss what it is, how to create an effective one, how to promote your marketing content, and how to really measure if it's working for you. Stay tuned, grab a cup of coffee, grab some popcorn, whatever is going to keep you comfortable, and let's dive in to video marketing. Welcome to the Brand Builder Podcast. I'm your host, Amir Tabrizi. I'm a side hustle digital marketer turned agency owner who has managed over $2 billion in marketing budgets. I'm obsessed with the brand building process through video content, social media, and all things organic, leveraging search engine optimization and the power of Google. Every week here on the Brand Builder Podcast, we dive deep into the dynamic realm of digital marketing, unveiling the tools, strategies, and insights that can empower your brand in today's digital-centric world. Not just go over some quick hacks and tricks that will yield you no long-term growth. Whether you're a startup looking to make a splash or an established brand aspiring to reach new heights, our podcast is here to illuminate the path towards your success. So stay tuned to my workshop-style solo shows with the occasional in-depth interviews with industry's experts. We don't just talk about digital marketing. We decode it, demystify it, and help you leverage it for your brand's growth. So stay tuned into Brand Builders Podcast and embark on your journey towards becoming a titan in the digital marketing arena. So today I'm joined by a friend, a colleague, and somebody who has been doing really, really well in the whole video marketing world. Someone that I think has spent a lot of time, effort, and energy into really, really crafting the right brand, crafting the right personas, crafting really his message that is all about sales education, not sales pressure, or all about education, not sales pressure, and has really used YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram to his benefit. His name is Robert Garcia, and you guys have heard him on the podcast here before. So Robert, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Amir. Thank you for having me back. I thought that I won't be back, but I guess you guys like my what I'm about to say. So thank you for having me back.
Yeah, you did pretty good, and we had some popular requests that said, "Could you please bring Robert Garcia back?" Especially from the real estate world. So, Robert, I'll give you a quick little background about who you are, and maybe you can correct places that I'm wrong. But you've been in the real estate game for almost 20 years now.
Correct.
You have, over the years, have been really the operational and growth mastermind behind a few successful teams that are in the DMV. And really, you've grown your business through the motto that you have, which is just education, no sales pressure, right? So bringing content out to people. So tell me more what I've missed. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yes, thank you, Amir, for having me over. I really appreciate you guys letting me come here. So I enjoy these interviews because we really get to talk about, whatever is happening in the real estate world and marketing. So yeah, been doing real estate over 20 years, though, that I have been working in real estate, licensed. I think I'm going into my 19th year since I got licensed in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. And, one of the things that when you come into real estate, one of the things that you realize is that not everybody that can fog a mirror can actually be a client, right? It's just that's what it is. And remember many of the brokers telling you, well, just grab the phone book, start making phone calls, and someone at some point is going to pick up and say, yes, I want to sell or buy a house. Those days are over. I think clients are smarter than realtors sometimes. I hate to say that, but it's the reality. It's like a patient going for surgery and knowing more about the procedure than the surgeon himself or herself. So this is where you have to reinvent yourself, and marketing. It's one of those things where I have to embrace marketing, systems, changing, trying something, tweaking along the lines, and it's a never-ending thing. Because the market is always changing, always evolving. Now we are in a seller's market. If these changes will be in a buyer's market, that would be a whole different thing. So yeah, you have to change, adapt to the circumstances. The market is like one of the most important things that you have to do.
Awesome. And you, speaking of adapting, right? Like you did a pretty good job of this, because I know you and I had this conversation probably back in 2018, where you were really starting to get heavier into video marketing, and you kind of started with like video newsletters to your clients, and you actually did something really cool, which I tell some of our agency clients who are in real estate. I tell them about your video CMAs that you've done, which we can get into a little bit later.
Yes.
But you evolved and you adapted, and you saw the changes in the market happening and in the sphere of happening. Like, so one thing you mentioned, yes, there are times where I feel like, and I've seen this happen, that the consumer knows more about the agent. And I think it's a very unique thing that happens in real estate, where the agent might be pretty new and they may not know the tips and tricks and how to get around certain things or how to really go about certain ways of doing business. So they tend to either try to look it up or kind of go to their broker, and depending on who the broker is, they may not be available, and so on and so forth. So you kind of have a rookie potentially that could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, because these are not, we're not buying houses that are costing $20,000. We're in the DC, Maryland, Virginia. I mean, majority of the prices are, you're looking into the fives and six, 500,000, 600,000. So let's go back to what we were talking about, which is you adapting. So what made you specifically go, I think video marketing is where it's going to be in the future? And what steps did you have to go through to get to that point? And for the audience that may not know what video marketing is, which I'm sure most of us do. So video marketing is essentially the usage of videos to promote your product or your services, right? The video can tell a story, it can educate your customer, or it can, like in your case, it can generate leads and sales for you. So what made you look at video marketing and go, that's where I need to get into it, before a lot of the people in the industry?
So as a really good question, it's a loaded question because it has so many parts. So the most important thing I realized was, I remember attending a seminar from a real estate coach and talking about becoming the digital mayor of your area, of your clients. And that really got kind of like stuck in my head, because it's like, yes, I am a real estate agent. Yes, people look at me when they have a need to buy and sell real estate. But let's just do on the other side, realtors. How do realtors go about getting clients? And unfortunately, the only way they go about getting clients, it's by not adding value to the relationship. What I mean by that is they are disruptive. And when I say disruptive is, here's Joe and Anna having coffee on a Saturday morning, a couple that got married probably a year ago, and they're thinking about buying a house. And at 9 a.m., Anna's cell phone is ringing, and they don't know the number, and they answer that telephone, and then Anna says, hey, this is Anna who's on the other side. And then here is Robert Garcia calling, that disruptive realtor, just calling to see if Anna and Joe are thinking about buying a house. The chances of Anna and Joe actually paying attention to what I have to say are very small, and then most likely they feel that I'm a spam, because all I'm trying to do is satisfy my pockets, not their needs. That's what sales has been, traditionally speaking, for so many years. Now, when I saw the how difficult it was to break the ice with Joe and Anna by going in that direction, is when I said, wait a minute, but Joe and Anna still have a desire to purchase a house. And let's just be honest. And if you don't do this, that maybe you are from another planet. But as far as I know, if you're looking for something, the first place you start is a research online for whatever. How to buy a car with a low down payment, how to buy a house as a first-time home buyer, how to buy a car that I was under a lease. And I mean, you those how-to words are probably the most searched set of keywords in the whole Google, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it is. So when I realized that these people are going to start doing a search online, then is when I knew that I was going to be, okay, wait a minute. These people are actually looking for something online and I need to really get that information. Then I start researching on Google and YouTube, and I found a lot of this content. And that's when that magic light bulb went. I said, wait a minute, I think I know how to probably convince this person. Now, if I'm being calling Joe and Anna again under now the adapted way, and I'm calling them and they say, well, Robert, we're not interested in buying a house at this moment, or we already have someone that is willing to help us. I'd be, hey, Joanna, no problem. I understand. And you know what? My goal is not to come here and say that you need to work with me, but would it be beneficial to you? Would you be opposed? Those are the two questions I always ask. If I send you a link of a video that I created recently that actually talks about the things that you should do as a first-time home buyer, you see the difference now? Now I'm adding value. Now I'm putting them on a path that is going to lead them to more questions and hopefully good answers. That's the difference, and that's the when I said I was adapting to that.
That's huge, because I think if you guys didn't pick that up, is that you handled an objection with a value add. And I think a lot of people right now, as buyers of anything, service, whether it's a service or a product, we want to know what value will it add to our lives and what problems will it solve, right? So in reality, when you're addressing the objection with a value, what you're doing is you're showing the authenticity behind what you're trying to do, right? Like, so for you specifically, it's no sales pressure, just education. You're educating them on to some of the questions they may or may not be looking into thinking about. So when my wife and I were looking to buy, and we used Robert, there were many things that we didn't think about. And I think throughout the process of like looking and talking to you, and, a good agent would kind of take you through those steps and really be able to show you those potential pitfalls that you may have. And so I think there are many reasons why businesses use video marketing, right? They can include a powerful way to engage and connect with customers. So you just talked about it. You're now engaging Anna. Anna did not feel comfortable enough to potentially share some information with you or tell you where they're looking or so on and so forth. So then you say, hey, well, you may have some questions about X, Y, and Z that you may not even be thinking of. So look at this video that I've created for first-time home buyers, or a webinar you could have done. You can also use it to tell a story that can resonate with people and make them feel something. So I think like feeling something in any industry, the consumer, if they feel something, they're more likely to buy your product. So we preach that the sales funnel is dead, because the sales funnel was top of the funnel. So your market qualified lead, or a lead that comes in, then it goes to market qualified and sales qualified. And then you kind of like are shoving them in this forceful direction, whether they like it or not, wherever they are in the sale or buy process, you're kind of pushing them through. Versus when you adapt the flywheel method, you're not only just shoving them through the line to get to the end, but what you're doing is you're meeting them where they are, and you have a content for every single piece of the journey. So to resonate with them, we've found that when you resonate with a client, you've already done 70% of the work. So for an agent, imagine that you are showing up to a listing appointment, and you would say probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours would be a normal listing appointment.
Correct.
So imagine if 70% of that is already done for you. And all you have to do is show up and just say, this is what I think your house is worth. This is our marketing plan. This is our strategy. They already know who you are, what you do, how you do, and your track record, right? So like if they know your reviews, if they know how many houses you've sold in the neighborhood, so on and so forth, like becoming that digital mayor, that's going to help it. And then you can educate them. You can use all of that stuff to start generating more leads and sales for you, because you're building your brand, right? Like you're building that brand awareness and credibility within whatever area it is that you're hitting, and whatever customer persona it is that you're hitting, through the power of content and education.
Correct.
So there is a side to it though. Like you have to. You can't just pick up your phone or get your camera or whatever and just start shooting and talking about something that may not be relevant. So how do you create an effective video marketing content? So when creating video marketing, there are a few things you have to keep in mind, right? So what's the video purpose that you wanted to achieve? Do you want to generate leads? Do you want to educate the customer? Do you want to tell a story? And then what's your target audience? Like, who are you trying to go after? And then I think that one of the other things is, there's like video format, length, and all that stuff, which really, it's not really that relevant right now. But with those three things, right? The purpose, the audience, and the kind of the value behind it. How do you, as someone who has over 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, I think you have I think all in all, you have over 30,000, subscribers and likes and follows on all your social media platforms. So when Robert Garcia goes to create an effective video marketing content, what do you do?
So you said it earlier, audience. So one of the mistakes I made in probably my first 10 years of real estate is that I never identify an audience. And what happens is that if I went after people that thought they needed to buy or sell a house, and in many cases, I guess I even pushed people to feel like they had the need to buy something. So I never identified the audience because I always thought that narrowing down things will make it more difficult to me to get more clients. So I always thought like, okay, let's just cast that wide net, right? Going fishing, you throw the net into the water. The more, the merrier. And in marketing and in sales, it does not work that well because this is what happens. You end up frustrating people. So let's just give you an example. If I am shooting content for a first-time home buyer, right? And then I put that content out there, but then I'm reaching someone that is living in their house for the last 35 years, I'm disqualified in their eyes to have a conversation with them, to guide them and coach them, because what I'm doing is just, talking about just that. So that's what's my thought at the beginning. But here's what happens though. As you upset all these people, you also upset your audience, and you can have just doing like a ping pong strategy from one audience to the other one because it does not work that well. Unfortunately, it just does not work that way. So what I think it's necessary in this scenario is identify your audience. Who is your avatar? Who your persona? I mean, it has so many names in marketing. You can identify. It's basically the same person. Who you want to go for? What are the content they're looking for? So you mentioned my YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel, I talk about two things. Areas here in the county that I live in Montgomery County. So neighborhoods, type of homes, new construction. So that's my avatar. There is people that are thinking about relocating to this area that they don't necessarily know where to go, where to start, and having at least someone that can give them some guidance. It's important. That's who I'm really going after. And then on the same time, I'm going about national headlines. What I mean by that is I want to have people keep informed. So one of my most recent videos is to talk about the Zillow 1% down payment. That it's not really, you would think, well, Zillow getting creative. They're trying to help first-time home buyers get a house. Actually, probably going to create more of a problem of a bubble, because what they're not telling you is that they are financing you the other 2% to be more into the 3%. So I'm trying to just give people the honest truth when it comes to real estate through my national headlines. I just go into national headlines and just dissect them. And then I'm doing the on people that are relocating to this area, give them the in and out of the pluses and minuses, pros and cons of each area. So that way they can understand if Montgomery County, whatever city they have in mind, it's what they need to go for.
So that's huge. I think one of the main things I would definitely say we need to take away from that is the content has to match the audience. So for example, if I'm going after real estate agents for my agency, I can't put out content that's not related to them, right? So I can't have, Joe the roofer sitting here next to me for an interview when I'm trying to go after real estate agents. And that goes for, I think, any sales industry. If you are trying to go after a certain niche or a certain market or a certain audience, you have to make your message match whatever that audience is looking for. So for example, if I have a client, or for example, of Robert, if you are looking to go after the downsizers, right? Like the people who have their kids are off in college, they're getting into an age where they're ready to kind of just downsize from the 6,000 square foot house to maybe 2,500. That content has to match. They're not going to care about the the certain things that the first time home buyer will care about. So I think matching the message to the audience, or the content has to message the audience. Also, the content that you're giving away, or the potential interactive marketing thing you're giving away, whether it's a guide or a one pager or whatever that looks like, it also has to match that audience too. It can't just be, how to repair your credit when the person who's downsizing is potentially sitting on, I don't know, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 worth of equity in their house, right? So the audience really, really makes a difference. And I think one of the things you mentioned is your channel has two audiences right now. One is the national news, right? So now anybody who's looking at whether interest rates are going up or down, and what does that mean, or how do you trust your estimate, or so on and so forth. But you also have a hyper local content driven way, which is just for the DMV or Montgomery County, or so on and so forth. So how do you, when you're putting your effective content plan together, how do you make sure that these two worlds are separated enough where you are not turning off someone who's just interested in DMV, or someone who's just interested in the national news?
So you have to do your research, right? That comes with really a lot of study in the market, and that doesn't come like easy at the beginning. It isn't a natural thing. I probably made tons of videos where I upsetted a lot of people because they just felt like I was just trying to mix two things in one and kind of steer the pot and see, hopefully whatever comes out, it tastes good. It doesn't really work that well, though. You really have to identify. And when I say study your avatar, you have to study these people. I mean, their behaviors, what they consume, what places they go, how do they search about things, how often they are looking to get information, right? Because, imagine you're a first-time home buyer, you just bought your first home. That doesn't automatically makes you for me to put you in the next avatar where it is just the seller is going to sell their house in a couple of years. It doesn't work that way. I will upset that person immediately. But maybe it puts them in the avatar about upgrades, right, of the house. What upgrades have the best return on investment? And that is content they'll be probably interested, because if you, again, you have to study these people. They maybe bought a house that their bathrooms, the kitchen was updated, but not the bathrooms. And they'd be like, well, maybe in 3-5 years, when we save a little bit more money, we'll update the bathrooms. But are they going? How they're going to update the bathrooms? What do they know about updating bathrooms? They know nothing about those things. So you actually have to be there to coach these people. And I can tell you, there's been so many people that have called me after they've been in their homes to say, "Hey, Robert, we want to update our bathrooms." I recently got a call from this client of mine that they bought the house, I would say 5-6 years ago, and they like my content, and they said, "Hey, we're thinking about solar panels, and we already got 2 quotes. We are thinking to go with this company, but we are not sure if that adds a lot of value when the time comes to sell the house." So I have to really sit down with them and dissect the contract that they have for them to make them understand that the contract they have stays with the house, not with them. What do you mean by that, Robert? Well, I'll give you right now a quick lesson on that. If you have right now solar panels, the solar panels are the company is going to attach a lien against the property. Now, the person responsible for paying that lien, it's Amir Tabrizi and, his wife or significant other. Now, but that when time comes to sell the house, the new buyer has to qualify to purchase the house, not only the house and the mortgage, with the solar panels. And then maybe there is a fee that you have to. So you see, it's just not like the savings of having the solar panels has some implications, and they need to understand that. Now, imagine if you create content around solar panels as a real estate agent, how many people you're going to have. So you really have to study these people. And as I said, I was told back in the days that if somebody can fog a mirror, that person most likely is going to buy a house. That is wrong, and is wrong in from every angle you looked at it. That is totally wrong, because not everybody's going to buy a house that way. They need to understand what they're getting into it, and once they know what they're getting into it, then they have to put a plan of action for them to get it. And that's where I step in to put a plan of action.
So it's really the value that you're adding to it. And I think, going back to what we talked about, which is like the sales funnel, right? I think back in the day, it was not a it wasn't customer centric. All marketing was sales centric. How can I push you through the process to get you to do what I need you to do? Which in turn I think was one of the reasons why we changed the way we do things. All right, so matching your message to the audience, finding ways to add value, finding ways to engage your customers and connecting with them. Now, we do have a sponsor, and we're going to take a second for a word from our sponsors. But once we come back, we're going to ask Robert 3 questions. How does he promote his videos? So once he's created your videos, how do you promote them? How do you measure the results of your video marketing campaigns? And the one question that I'm sure everybody's going to have is, if you were to redo everything you've learned since 2017 and 2018 and the way that you've grown, what would you do differently? And how would you go on about telling someone or educating someone or coaching someone if they're looking to get started in video marketing today? We'll be right back. My name is Amir Tabrizi, and I am the owner and the chief growth officer here at Agency 270. Agency 270 is a full-service digital marketing team. We focus on search engine optimization, paid ads, your Google business profile, videos, video editing and optimization, posting your videos, social media management, and podcast recording and editing. Why we do what we do is because we want to help you and your message to get out in front of the world. We want to make sure that we're highlighting our clients so that they are the consumer's choice. We do that through the power of digital marketing. Ask yourself this question. If you go onto Google right now and type in your name or type the problem that you solve and you're not coming up as one of the first 2-3 choices, there's a problem there. You are losing out business to your competitor. Don't settle for next to best. Don't settle for second. Don't settle for third. Let us help you get you to the number 1 spot on Google. Give me a call today. Go on our website at agency270.com. Send us an email at marketing@agency270, or give us a call, 301-310-6148. Again, that's 301-310-6148. Back to our show. Awesome. So we are back, and we've covered some good stuff already. We've covered, what is video marketing, why you use it, your shift, Robert, into getting into more video marketing, the effective video marketing content planning, how you measure your audience, how you push your audience and the message you want to them, and then how you add value. And I think one of the main things that I took away from that conversation is what you said is where you meet an objection with a piece of value, right? Like you are on the phone with Mr. and Mrs. Seller or Mr. and Mrs. First-time home buyer, and instead of just being like, well, can I call you back again tomorrow when it's a better time for you? You meet that objection by simply saying, hey, I know you're busy. For lack of better words, I know you're busy, but what I want to do is I want to send you this link to a video that I've done that talks about how to downsize or how to buy your first home or how you should fix your credit, because I think there are so many things that go into any business. But let's just say real estate, for the fact that you're here as a subject matter expert in real estate when it comes to buying or selling, that a lot of people don't look into. And honestly, I think that's one of the things that buyer and sellers, especially sellers who want the better commission split, or they want to go with the discount broker, is like, listen, price is what you pay, value is what you get. If you want to pay a lower price, you're going to get that low value agent. Or if you're willing to really invest in your bottom line, then you're going to get that one. So we talked about going into, when we came back from break, is going into how to promote your video and then how to measure it. And then we're going to give you some cool tips and tricks. And then the one thing I know I really want to end on is, if you were to do it again, what would you do differently? So when it comes to promoting your videos, once you've created this amazing video and you're ready to share it, how do you make sure that your video is getting in front of the audience, the right audience at the right time?
So that's a very good question, and it's not a simple answer, and nor there is a straight line to that. So what you need to understand is, so you have your audience, just recapping everything, you have your audience, you are identifying what your audience is consuming, what the audience is liking and what's they dislike, and what the audience, the avatar is these people that are first-time home buyers. Are they move-up buyers? Are there people that are downsizing? Are they buying an investment property? Are they buying vacation homes? There's so many ways that you have to identify these type of clients. Now, once you identify that, then you create the content, and now you send the content. And this is not some mentors and coaches that I had in the past use the spaghetti approach, meaning you just throw a bunch of noodles to the wall, and whatever sticks, that means it's working. If whatever doesn't stick, then okay, we'll try again. This is not throwing spaghetti noodles to the wall. That doesn't work that way. You have to have a purpose. So one thing that you have to do is you have to analyze the content. So this is how, first of all, a plan of action, you have to always have a plan. But now you created the content. Now you're going to test the content. How is the content performing, right? So you're going to put the content out there, and then you got to let the content perform. And I mean, if you are looking to, you just uploaded a video and you hope that video it's going to, go viral tomorrow, good luck. The chances of that happening are not here. None of us have the creativity that Mr. Beast has just to name someone that you probably are familiar. So yeah, it doesn't work that way. You have to then measure and study the intel that the analytics are giving you back. And then you have to study those analytics, and you have to understand now, that's one of the reasons why I love YouTube and the YouTube studio, is because it gives you the content. And believe me, whatever they're consuming in YouTube, most likely they're going to consume it in some other channels. It's just the format is different. You have to have different calls to action. You have to have a different hook at the beginning, because maybe the content is only 30 seconds and 60 seconds versus YouTube. But the analytics is everything, and you have to adjust. This is very important. You have to learn how to adjust moving forward. As I said, it's not an spaghetti content that you throw at the wall. You have to be able to adjust. And there's going to be adjustments. Maybe you have to change your title. Maybe you have to change your keywords. Maybe you have to change some of the content you typed. Maybe you have to change the thumbnail. Maybe you have to change the hashtags. Maybe you have to change the geographical location. I mean, you have to change a lot of these things. And now, this does not come like I didn't learn this overnight. Okay, this has been so many times just studying, learning about content. We realtors should take a class, and I'm not joking, Amir. Realtors should take a class about content creation and storytelling, because guess what? The fact that you can sell a house to someone, it has to do with a lot of creativity. Not that you're overselling something, but you are selling the best factors, the best things of a house or a community, or in terms of location, transportation, schools. I mean, just so many things that some people don't think about it. They just really don't think. First-time home buyers, do they really care about the school district? They don't care about the school district. All they care is they're tired of that noisy neighbor that lives upstairs in the apartment they're renting, that he or she wakes up at 3 a.m., start banging the floors, and they just want to get out of that apartment and have their own town home where there is nobody else above them, and then they can sleep until 10 a.m. They don't care about the schools. Now, if some realtors that also they don't care about those things, and that other realtors will be like, well, that's what you want. Let me give you this. But here's where the approach goes. Let's ask more questions to these potential clients so that we can understand their needs, their wants and needs. And believe me, their wants and needs, they never match. They never cross their path. They're totally all over the place. And you have to bring them down to say, well, if you want to have that school district, the house is going to cost you more, and this is going to be the mortgage payment. I don't know that you want to go there because you already told me you can only afford this much. So you see, reality now meets with what I want and what I wish I could have.
Right. I mean, I think, again, somebody who's experienced that first-time home buying side of things recently, and I think we did this with you. It was like, give me the 3 things you really need the house to have, and then give me the 5 things you want the house to have. And I think once you sit down and really put in perspective of like where you are, yes, we were looking at great school districts, but like we didn't have a child. Like, my kid's 9 months old. Like before he gets to that level, where will we actually be? So I think those certain things that were told and perceived to think about, because that may have been what our parents thought about, because we're in a whole different generation, right? Like people are having kids later on. The cost of living is that much more expensive. Like there are other things in life that become a priority, so that the need of being in a good school district, I'm not saying this is for everybody, but the need may not be there. We may not need that. Now we want to be in this, or we want this, but we may not need it. So I think that's huge as well. And something you mentioned that, realtors should be in content creation and storytelling. One of the main things, and actually you and I are going to do an episode about this as well, is the authenticity in marketing. There are so many disingenuous or just not trustworthy people that are doing marketing out there. You know how many times I've opened my phone and I've said, I guarantee you 20 leads this month, or your money back, or I'm going to give you $5,000, or are you like, that is not genuine. I'm sorry, but you are not going to create $20,000 worth of business, or 20 leads or 15 leads in a week, and those leads be quality, because it takes time. It takes tweaking. It takes building a brand to have consistency. And unfortunately, real estate or real estate agents are one of the most notoriously known. I want it now, and I want it quick, and I want it to convert in business. Well, let me tell you why you will not be successful in 6 months from now, unless you're willing to spend the $60,000 a month that you did with Zillow back in, 2 years ago, versus someone who's willing to invest in their brand and their story and the way they tell their brand and everything else that comes with it, so that they have continuous business. Their pipeline is never empty, because they're always going to have that repeat customer over and over again. And I think one of the main things that I have an issue with the Zillow style of business, which is, you pay us X amount of money, we get you into this zip code and so on and so forth, is once you stop spending the money, that's it, right? Like I think a lot of agents right now are struggling because they would spend lots of money because they had it, because prices were insane in the last, 48 to 72 months, let's say, right? Like maybe not even that, but still, like in the last 24 to 48 months, prices have been insane, and this huge influx has been insane. So they've had the money to spend, but all of a sudden the well is dried up, the money is not there, and the leads aren't coming in because you went from 20,000 to 5,000 on Zillow. So you're going to get the bottom of the barrel that everybody is fighting for. So I do think that what you said, and one thing I would definitely highlight on, is the content creation and storytelling. It's huge for your brand.
Oh yeah, I mean, it takes some time to really understand. It's like, well, I'm a real estate agent, I sell homes for a living. But yeah, how do you sell those homes? It's by creating a compelling story of a house, right? If you're like used to say, hey, I have a new listing, costs $500,000, and it only has, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, 1 car garage, it's a townhouse, and it's located, convenient, like access to a highway. Okay, you're giving facts. You're only telling what it is already there. Anybody can go and get that information from Zillow, Realtor.com, Google. The problem with realtors is that they are not telling a story. What can this person do with the property? What can this person actually enjoy of the property? It's funny because many realtors, when you ask them, especially the listing agent, says, hey, does this property has an HOA? Say, yeah, it does have an HOA. Do you know how much it is? And they say, well, I think it's between this and this. And do you know what's included? I guarantee you, 95% of them, they have no clue what's included. And I'm not trying to tell you that they should have, all those things, because if somebody sells 100 homes a year in different areas, it's going to be really hard. But at least have a basic understanding of what's included. Because guess what? You're buying the 4 walls and a roof, and you're buying the location and the amenities in which this house is located. And if you don't know the amenities, does it have a community swimming pool? Is it paid or included as part of the HOA? What about the maintenance, the landscaping? What about this? What I'm responsible for doing this? Those are things that's part of telling the story to someone. Because I remember back in 2008, people were buying homes, And the very next thing is like that someone will come and knock on their doors and say, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm the president of the homeowners association of this community. And I just want to let you know that, your first quarter dues are due whatever. And they're like, I'm sorry, HOA. Nobody told me that you guys have an HOA. Well, it is not mandatory, but we like everybody to participate. So you see, from that standpoint, you just knew that the quality of the person that was handling, and to be honest with you, I'm kind of worried because we are back to 2008 days, not because the market is going to crash. Only I'm saying that's because of the quality of the realtors out there, that they just don't know. People just get their licenses. The threshold to be a licensed agent, it's not a rocket science. Anybody that knows how to speak and write English will pass the exam. You can get affiliated with any company nowadays. It's super easy. But the content, what how to handle problems, what to do in whatever situation, that's what people are paying for. That's exactly what people will pay for. So if somebody comes and says, this is my fee, this is a charge to help you, you got to show this person why you're charging that fee and how you're going to be able to help this person achieve their goal of buying or selling a home, because that's just at the bottom line. That's all what it is. But many people don't know, and if you don't know how to sell yourself, how can you sell somebody else's house? That's the bottom line.
Absolutely. If you can't sell yourself, how are you going to sell somebody else's house? And I think I've heard you say this, is if somebody's willing to discount their income, what do you think they're going to do when it comes to negotiating with the home inspection or giving the comparables when it comes to your appraisal and so on and so forth? So I think it definitely, the value is huge in all of them. And if you can't translate that value, then, you really need to get into that. But there are other ways you can promote as well. Some things that, we might want to look into, sharing it on your social media. So posting the videos or something you have on social media. You can also email it to your database. You can always put together a monthly newsletter to your database. I think, it takes 36 touches before a transaction is potentially completed in real estate. And whether it's a buyer or seller, buyers, I'm sure it's less. But, with sellers, 36 touches, if you send one newsletter a month, that's only 12, right? So you have to have other means of touch points to get to that. And then, of course, you can run some paid advertising behind it, but that's only if you have the funding or the money behind it to do it. Correct. Now, we've talked about all of this. At the end of the day, we all want to see a return of investment, anything we put our business into or our efforts into, especially if you're an entrepreneur or solopreneur or a small business owner, which a lot of people are, listening to us. So when it comes to measuring results, what are some tools you may use? And then how do you measure if a video you did was successful? Like, what metrics do you look at? What do you say, well, this video was better than this? Like, how do you make that comparison? And how do you tell yourself this was successful, this was not, these are the switches I should make?
So there's there's a lot of tools that you can use for social media to look at the level of engagement. I will just say that here's the bottom line. If people are not commenting, they're not liking or sharing your content, that means your content is trash. I'm sorry. Just plain and simple, it's not good. It just means you don't really have good content. Only means you're creating content just like the rest of the world. That's all really what it means.
You're not unique.
You're not unique. Now, when you start having people to engage, the first thing that comes in is the likes, right? That's the most important thing. That comes first. People will randomly like your content, but you have not built trust. So they're not going to follow you at that point. They're only going to like your content, but the algorithm is most likely going to put them back in front of them, and then they're going to see it again, and then they may like it again. And if your content continues to be good and it catches their attention, then they're going to subscribe to your channel. They're going to like your channel. Now, I'm talking on all these different channels. Now, that you have those two things, recipes. Now, the next thing is, are they going to engage with you? Meaning, are they going to post comments? Because I can see somebody driving a BMW on an ad, and I can say, well, that's a nice car. I love it. But the reality is that the content is it's good when people engage with the content, because that means somebody is going to approve or disapprove. And believe me, both are equal important. Approvals, disapprovals, likes or dislikes are very important because you also have to be humble. You have to learn from the dislikes. You have to learn from the negative comments. Now, there's going to be some jerks that are going to put stuff that it doesn't really, that you don't have to pay attention. You have to lose sleep over that. But you have to understand that. And you know what? Sometimes the comments, believe it or not, gives you the idea of the next subject, the next video they should be putting together. Because somebody was, well, I can see why you created this content. I know why this could happen. Hey, can you go a little bit deeper, talk about this? And then when that person is asking you to put more content based on a specific need he or she has, then your content is king and they like it, they're now loving it, and they're now engaging with you. So they're now expecting that you will deliver. And believe me, you have to deliver. You now deliver the next piece of content, and you invite them to like your content, to subscribe to your content, and to also comment to your content. One mistake I made, especially on YouTube, was to, at the beginning of my videos, always ask people, hey, like and subscribe. That's a huge mistake that you're making, and I'll tell you why. Because people don't know you. There is no report. The people don't know you. They don't know what you're going to be talking about. And now you're asking to like and subscribe. Let me just give you more something like that you will understand. It's like you going to buy a car at a Toyota dealer, and before you even buy the car, the sales associate comes and says, hey, any chance you can give me a review before you buy the car, right? Any chance you can go on Google and give me a review or whatever website they have and give me a 5-star review, and then we'll do the work. Like, it doesn't work that way. You wouldn't never, ever, ever do that. You want to test them on the quality of the vehicle, the service, the paperwork, how clean is the car when they deliver it to you. I mean, did they even put gasoline into the tank when they delivered the car to you? Especially this is brand new, right? Those are little things that make a huge difference. And if you can check off those boxes, yes, then you have the right to come and ask someone for a comment. So go into tools. There are 2 tools that I actually I like. They have pluses and cons, and negatives that I don't like, but I like both of tools. One is vidIQ. That's VID IQ. So that's something that is really good for keyword research, and it's designed for YouTube, but actually works very well with a lot of other platforms when it comes to that content creation. And then the next one is TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy, it's another one that it's very similar. I have heard some people that said the analytics that you can get through TubeBuddy are better than vidIQ because this is more of a YouTube company, or they're closer to YouTube. I cannot really say that's true or it's not, it's false. I cannot tell you, but they both give you a lot of good stuff that you really can use, and I really like it a lot. So I highly recommend for you both to use that. I think, Amir, you also talk about SEMrush, I think it is the other one.
Right. Yeah, we have SEM. You have SEMrush. You have some other like tools that can be used for keyword research.
Yeah, you can do that. And I mean, nowadays ChatGPT can help you with a lot of those things too. Can. So ChatGPT is another tool that you should just sign up. It's free. Play with it. It's really nice what they have. Yeah. So just try it. I mean, it doesn't really hurt. Worst thing you can do in any industry, but real estate and marketing and sales, is not trying. I mean, if you don't try, you don't know if it's good. So try it and see how it goes.
Bard is also another one. Bard.ai is another Google-backed one that I personally like myself, and I actually use it a little bit more than ChatGPT just because of some restrictions that you have with OpenAI and so on and so forth. But yeah, vidIQ, TubeBuddy, and then the actual YouTube Studio backend gives you some cool data as well that you can always use. And then also, I don't know, I think one of the other things is just follow your competitor. Follow somebody who you want to be, right? Mm-hmm. Like if I want to be more like Robert Garcia, then I'm going to follow Robert Garcia or subscribe to Robert Garcia's channel and look at what he's producing and then put my own twist on it.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like, don't go and copy verbatim what your competitors are doing because you're just going to kind of fall below that line because somebody's already doing it. But I think if you take, like, there are many agents out there and all of them do what? 2 things. They can either help you buy a house or sell your home, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's it. The job description is those 2. How they do it, the reason why they do it, the tools they use, that's what makes them different, and that's what their USP or unique selling proposition is. But look at what's happening out there. Look at someone that you use. I mean, I know you do this as well. It's like you look at certain people that you love the way they put out their content, and then you do the same thing. We do the same thing with the agency. Like I look at the big guys of like Gary V to like some smaller agencies that I really look up to and go, this is really cool. I can resonate with the way that they sell their products or their services, and I like to be like them as well. So track your numbers by views. You said likes. I'm going to challenge you on that, because I personally, as much as I say, yes, likes matter, but I also think that you can take likes with a grain of salt depending on where you are in the channel of where you're starting it. So if you are just starting brand new or you've had no relevancy, your likes are going to be lower, right? You're not going to be as high as you want with your likes, but yes, I think you can get to that point as well. Tracking the number of click-throughs that you get or clicks that your video is receiving, and then track the return on investment on your campaign, specifically if you're running paid ads. But tracking your click-throughs, right? I think like one of the things is that I see a lot of people that just upload something on YouTube, and in the description, they have no way of people reaching out to them. If you have guides, put that link in there. If you have a calendar link, which you can get Calendly for free, or even HubSpot, I think is for free right now, put those calendar links in there. Have people find a way to reach out to you. Now, as we're rounding out the ending of this, I want to ask you a question that a lot of people may be thinking. If you had to recreate your channel, okay, knowing everything you know since starting this in 2017, 2018, building your portfolio, let's just call it for lack of better words, up to, 30, 40,000 followers, subscribers throughout all your channels and everything else you've done, your 20 years of real estate experience and the shifts you've seen in the market. If there were 3 things right now that you would do differently, 3 things right now you would do differently than you did back when you started your channel, what would they be? And what is the one piece of advice you would give to, or you can make it 2 pieces of it, doesn't matter. But what are the 1 or 2 pieces of advice that you would give to someone right now who's looking to get into video marketing?
Okay, great question. I think it's probably one of the best questions I've been asking the last 3 years. Here's what I will tell you though. Do not start any social media platform without a plan. Just simple as that. And you can say, well, plans don't have to be complicated, but have a plan of action for whatever you want to do. Okay, that's the most important thing. When I say a plan of action means you need to start planning your content ahead of time. And there are 2 types of contents. There is something that is called evergreen content, means it's good forever. Doesn't matter the time of the year. It's a buyer's market, seller's market, downturn, shift, whatever it is. It does not matter. It's always good. And then you have to do content that is relevant. So what I said before what I mentioned on my YouTube channel, I have national headlines content where I go and talk about what's happening. So that's more like the now. But then I have the evergreen communities and pros and cons or advantages or disadvantages of moving to certain communities, because those are always going to be an audience for those things. So with a plan of action, you'll have all those things. Plan ahead of time. Plan your content for the next quarter. Don't make the mistake to say, I only plan for the next 2 weeks. Then you get super busy and then you don't do that. Believe me, your audience, one thing they hate is for you not to be consistent. And the social media channels do not reward you for inconsistency. They will punish you. And believe me, once you get punished with one of them, it's really, really hard to get out of those holes and be, again, relevant. So try to do that. And then if once you have a plan for what you're going to be doing, then you have your the research on everything. Now have a system. Why you need a system? Well, because once it works, all you have to do is just fill out the spaces of the new subjects, of the new video titles, and just keep doing it again. So if that means a videographer, a content writer, or an editor, or whatever, just have your systems in place and know when you can send this information, when it's going to get produced, how many edits, and then put it out there and then track it. So those are the things that I will say. Now, as I said before, the biggest problem of real estate agents is that we want to have so many plates spinning at the same time. And that's one of the things I wish I would have learned before, to focus. This is the most important thing. And today I'm gonna, one quick ad here for, there is a good book that I highly recommend. It is called The Essentialism, and it is written by Greg McHugh. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name. It's the discipline of pursuing less. And what I mean by that, it is, this will help you identify the avatar that you need to go after, the persona you need to go after. So those will be the things that I will do differently, Amir. Planning, produce, put the systems in place, and do less with the idea that doing less, it gives me more opportunities. With that in mind, I can tell you right now, you will be the most powerful content creator, marketer, realtor, whatever you wanted to do. You're going to be that. Remember Pareto's law, 80-20. That it is really what this book actually talks, not necessarily Pareto's law, the whole book, but it really just tells you that that's what you have to be doing to achieve 80% gives you the 20% that you need. It's just amazing. I'm sorry, 20% gives you the 80% that you need. And that's just amazing. So that's it.
Cool. Plan of action, systems, do less to do more. Follow that 20 to 80 rule, which is do 20% to allow the other 80% to kind of fall in. And honestly, I think it gives you a sense of life when you do less to do more or to achieve more, because I think if you're trying to do too much, everybody will see that.
Exactly.
Some of the other things I would say, some additional tips for creating effective marketing is, again, be clear and concise. Your talking points should be easy for the audience to understand and follow. Be specific. Don't just tell people to watch my video. Tell them exactly what they will learn from your video or how it will benefit them. So one of the ways that we start this podcast is it's a hook. It's a hook. Like, we're going to talk about da-da-da-da-da today. So immediately from the beginning, I want people to understand what it is, because not every episode is going to be for everyone. Not every video is going to be for everyone. So I want them to get the benefit of the doubt from the top that says, hey, the benefit of knowing what's going to come to them. And then if they don't want to hear it, then that's okay. Be creative. Get people excited about your video by giving them a reason to watch it. Give them, for example, I bring you on as a subject matter expert. That gives it the creativity, that gives them a reason why to hear, as someone who's seen that success. And then I think one of the main things, and you and I are going to do an episode about this, is be authentic.
Yep.
Be genuine and sincere in your talking points. If you don't believe in your video, the audience won't either. I'll say it again. If you don't believe in your video, the audience won't either. If you don't believe in what you're preaching, the audience is going to sniff through that, excuse my language, bullshit. And they'll say, this guy is not genuine. This guy is not talking about what he believes in. He is not practicing what he preaches.
Oh, yeah.
All right. This has been another episode of the Brand Builder Podcast. We had Robert Garcia here. We talked all things video marketing. I want to thank everybody for staying with us this long, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, everybody. See you in the next one.